its roots in photography. The illusion of movement is created by the series of pictures moved in a sequence. The use and application of the moving image has not only been explored by its inventors, but by men of science trying to capture natural phenomena, the showman trying to make a dollar, and the artist who's looking for a new medium to express himself. Whatever the reason, film documents the object placed before its lens for posterity. The collective man-hours of the inventors, users, and viewers has led the moving image to what it is now. The impact the moving image has had on people is quite profound. Celebrity can be achieved merely by giving a glimpse into one's private life at the click of a mouse. But, as the saying goes, you are what you eat. So, let us begin our program with a quote.
Film opens our eyes to the world available, but not perceived. It is the poetry of the ordinary, familiar action. Those are the words of Edward Muybridge. His method of capturing a moving object with multiple cameras was simple and yet effective. You could still find his techniques being used today in modern-day movies such as The Matrix. He also created the Zoopraxiscope, a projector that rotated the discs that contained an image transfer of his photos to create the illusion of movement. It was the Zoopraxiscope that inspired two other individuals whose name will always be associated with film. Thomas Edison is said to have created the first commercial exhibition system. But recently, it has been learned that William Kennedy was the sole creator of the kinetoscope. It was housed in the Black Maria, considered to be the first movie studio in the world. The Black Maria was an enormous structure covered in tar paper, built specifically for filming. The camera itself ran off of Edison's electricity. The building rotated on its base and had an open roof to allow the sun to light up the subject. Its camera lens was at a fixed distance, so it placed the subject against a black background, deprived of any context. It was too big to move from place to place, so subjects were brought before it to perform. While the film captured by the Black Maria is of great importance, it is of no comparison to the film captured by a Frenchman, whose camera had none of the limitations that the Black Maria had.
Louis Lumiere worked in his father's factory, developing photographs for well-to-do clients. It was there that a 16-year-old Louis developed a procedure for processing photographic plates.
In 1894, during a night of insomnia, Louis worked out the problems to an invention that would revolutionize the art and create an industry. The cinematograph was 10 pounds and hand-cranked. This meant that it could be transported with ease and filmed at a moment's notice, an obvious advantage over the Black Maria.
And if that wasn't enough, it was an all-in-one machine.
A camera, a printing machine, and a projector in the same package. Louis worked on the first films by himself. Workers leaving the factory and arrival of a train are the earliest and most famous in the Lumiere collection. They also amassed a grand catalog from the Lumiere cinematographer operators.
The possibility of profit over the novelty value of film set a new industry, enshrined with the word cinema.
Once the masses acquired a taste for cinema, the demand outweighed the supply. In 1914, two young men set out to start their own business to try to satisfy that supply, and they succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. Many people believe that Mickey Mouse was Walt Disney's idea, but the reality is that the second of the two young men, Ub Iwerks, was the creator of the mouse and the many devices that propelled the Disney name to what it is now. Ub Iwerks was a genius and Walt Disney's ace in the hole. Aside from developing what is a modern-day Xerox machine, he enhanced the use of the multi-plane camera that gave films like Snow White and Bambi a sense of depth perception. But it was his editing machine that allowed the filmmaker to explore new realms and techniques and blend them into a single work. Upon viewing it, H.G. Wells said it was foolish, cliché, and muddled the mechanical progress and progress in general. Joseph Goebbels was impressed and took the message to heart, stating, "The bourgeois is about to leave this stage in history. In its place, advance the oppressed producers of the head and hand to their historical mission." Roger Ebert called it one of the greatest achievements in the silent era, a work so audacious in its vision and so angry in its message that it is more powerful today than when it was made. At the time, it was the most expensive movie ever made. By now, film effects and productions were at the will of the imagination, and Metropolis proves that. It influenced films like Blade Runner, Star Wars, and The Matrix, just to name a few, and it pretty much started the whole sci-fi genre. The image on the screen was now a composite of imagination and technology to create the illusion of reality. Fritz Lang came to hate the film, mainly due to the Nazis' fascination with the film. This fascination made them pursue a production of their own, and leads us to our next subject. Aside from being the first internationally known female director, her films were hailed as groundbreaking filmmaking, pioneering techniques involving cranes, rails, and multiple cameras at the same time. But that same work had such a weight and such an impact that changed her life forever. Leni Riefenstahl knew Adolf Hitler personally. With this help, she created something that stands as a testament to what a moving image can achieve and portray. Leni will be the first to tell you that any deliberate attempt to create pro-Nazi propaganda was not her. It was the Nazi Party that changed it from a documentary to a propaganda. Before the war, Triumph of the Will had international acclaim, but after the war, it was the cause of Leni Riefenstahl's demise and seclusion. In a later interview she says, "What is political responsibility, and to whom is one responsible? Take politics today. How can you tell who can assure you the right kind of future?" The internet changed the way people acquire and consume their media information. All of a sudden, we can trade audio and video with anyone in the world with a connection. The producers and distributors lost control to the very technology and progress that helped them create their empires. Robert Flaherty said, "People's self-image may be a crucial ingredient in its culture, and worth recording. If one were to record their image, they would post it on YouTube. It allows anyone with a lens to record and broadcast a simple opinion to a well-done independent production, worldwide, for free. Realize that this is what the general public is willing to digest. This kind of demand places the suppliers of such content in a particular situation. They are associated with the events that affect not one but many generations. It is their intent that determines the kind of content that makes it to broadcast." The value of an expression far outweighs the potential to profit from it. Once money is involved, an artist's work suffers severely, especially when this money is coming from companies that are just going to distribute it to the lowest common denominator. It is the work of the independent artist, often overlooked as an amateur, whose work truly shows the severity of the situation that society is going through. It portrays the underbelly of the beast and the true intentions of the people running the show. The image is, as it always has been, a way for us to study the past. It is in our interest to make sure that the future learns from the past, because let's face it, no one likes a rerun.